on right now with guitarist Dave Martone, who has a new release out on Magna Carta Records called Clean. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Thank you very much, Bob. How you doing today?
Oh, not too bad here. Are you all set for the Christmas holiday? Is there any shopping that you got to do?
I'm doing it as we speak.
Oh, cool, so you're multitasking. I do that a lot myself, too.
I guess where I'm at right now. Where would a musician be at, let's see, 11 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday?
At a music store?
No, at a liquor store.
Oh, wow, okay.
I'm kidding, of course.
All right.
No, I'm not, actually. I'm here picking up. I have a bunch of parties to go to for the festivities, you know? So
Okay.
I'm trying to get some stuff done in the morning. But no, these things take some time.
All right, Dave, I will start off with the first question then, and that is, what inspired you to pick up the guitar, and who were your earliest influences?
It's a great question. Oh, first off, it was basically my father who forced me to play the guitar. Forced. And I didn't necessarily want to play, and he had a heck of a time trying to make me practice. And he actually paid me money to practice.
Oh, not bad.
The only way he could get me to practice. Guess how much he paid me?
$10 a week?
Well, that would have been nice. It was 10 cents an hour. That's what I got.
Okay.
10 cents an hour. It was rough times back then, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But at the end of the week, I'd have a little schedule on the fridge, and we would mark off X's. 1 X would equal an hour. And then in the week, we would tabulate all the X's, and usually I'd get somewhere between $1 and $2 for a week. And then I would be off to the store to buy either, I remember I had these addictions with these Hot Wheel cars as I was really young, or candy, and that was it. So my father was the first huge influence to get me going, but after he got me going from that point, I would say one of the most monumental, influential people probably might have been Eddie Van Halen. When I first heard Eddie Van Halen, I was like, yeah, this is some cool stuff. I think that, and that's how I kind of started to get going on the guitar.
Now, for your lessons, Dave, did you take them a lot, or did you find as time went on that you were able to learn a lot more things on your own?
For lessons?
Yep.
Let's see. I was learning at first from a flamenco teacher from Spain that my father hooked me up with. His name was Gary Santucci. And the lessons, they were great, but basically it was just, we had this song book of these flamenco songs, and every week we would go through a different song. There was no real, techniques. It was just like read the music and do that, which was kind of lame, honestly. And in retrospect, I wouldn't teach someone like that. But I still play some of those songs to this day, so he had to do something right, I would say. So after that, it was basically a lot of self-taught, sitting in my parents' basement and wearing out their stereo equipment as much as possible. I played so much and so loud, my dad actually built a room downstairs and soundproofed the whole room so it wouldn't disrupt the family, and the fine dining room was on top of the actual music room, and he would always complain that all the dishes would be falling off in the fine china cabinet and falling down because I was practicing too much and too loud all the time.
Oh, well, but you had to practice but you had to protect all the fancy stuff upstairs then.
Well, or destroy it. However, I was looking at doing it. But I think the main influential years probably were between 11 and maybe 11 and 17, when I was really out of control, playing as much as possible in my parents' house. That's probably where I learned a lot, and that was just from listening to albums and cassette tapes and getting Guitar Player magazines and dissecting them and going through them, and I couldn't wait to get to the next thing. It was just like the most amazing piece of information, because you can learn so much. Today, the kids have such an amazing way of doing it with the internet. They can click on YouTube, you can get tabs, you can get music, you can get MP3s, and that's why a lot of students and some of my students today are just brilliant at the age of 11, 12, and 13, because there's so much medium out there for them to digest. I wish I had it.
Oh, yeah. Now, Dave, how was your first time on stage, and what do you remember about it that still sticks out?
Okay. One of my first memories, there was a lot of times that my parents, they forced me on stage. And there was a lot of them. And I was young. The first time was probably 8 years old, I think, and that was on a television set. They brought me on this very cute show. It was called Tiny Talent Time.
Oh, wow.
And that was in Ontario, close to Toronto. And the whole point was they had all these talented young little kids that would go on the show and they would perform. So I remember somehow my parents got myself and my brother on that show. And we were playing, and that was my first time, and there was all these big people around. Remember, I'm like a little 8-year-old kid, and there's huge television cameras and lights rolling and cables everywhere, and I was just freaked out. I remember being very, very scared. I was so scared, there's one point where the host, I think his name was Bill, he always goes, he snaps his finger and goes, if I could, he snaps it, make a wish come true, what would you like to be? And in my mind at that point in time, I was so scared, I honestly answered, I want to be a priest. Strangest thing was that I think I was thinking that for him to save me out of my fear at that point I was having. And my parents almost flipped out. You want to be a priest is interesting.